The 2025 transfer portal is going to absolutely explode this weekend as the final games of the regular season are going to be played and happen. Today, I've decided to come up with 10 more players who I think should hop into the 2025 portal, as you guys absolutely love these videos, and be sure to let me know your thoughts down below, a player who could be featured in another video, and also don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you love college football. Now let's go ahead and get started and talk about 10 more players who should enter the 2025 transfer portal. Okay, so our first guy is going to be a wide receiver, and his name is Ted Hurst. I believe he has one more year of eligibility left, and he reminds me a lot of Jamari Thrash, if you guys remember him. Just like Thrash, Hurst was an underrated recruit coming out of high school, as he was actually a 0-star recruit from Johnson High School in Georgia, and would end up spending 2 years at Valdosta State. He was really solid for them, and would transfer to Georgia State ahead of the 2024 season. He ended up having 56 catches for 961 yards and 9 touchdowns last year, and in 2025, Hurst has gotten even better. He so far has 64 catches for 928 yards and 6 touchdowns, and in 2 years, he has over 120 catches for nearly 2,000 yards and 15 total touchdowns. He's been a productive receiver his entire career, and I think just like Jamari Thrash, should jump up to a mid-tier Power 4 school and go ball out and potentially be a draft prospect down the road. For our first running back of the day, we're going to talk about Liberty running back Evan Dickens. Coming out of IMG Academy, he wasn't really like all of those other players, as he wasn't super highly regarded. He was just considered a 3-star recruit, and that came after having 480 yards and 9 touchdowns on the ground. Dickens would eventually go to Georgia Tech, and in 2023, he ran for just 47 yards. After not playing at all in 2024, he would arrive at Liberty, and in total this year, Dickens has run for over 1,000 yards and 12 total touchdowns. Liberty hasn't had a great season, but they've had a history of producing big-time players. Guys like Caden Salter and CJ Daniels come to mind. Dickens is obviously a good running back, and he's averaging nearly 12 yards a carry and is scoring lots of touchdowns, so he makes a lot of sense to be a plug-and-play starting transfer for a Power 4 program at some point, and he should enter the 2025 transfer portal. For our first quarterback on the list, we need to talk about Syracuse quarterback Steve Angeli. Coming out of Bergen Catholic High School in New Jersey, Angeli was considered one of the top high school quarterbacks in the nation, as he had thrown for 1,700 yards and 15 touchdowns. Because of that, he was listed as a 4-star recruit, and was the number 21 quarterback in the nation. Angeli got offers from all over the country, but would decide to go to Notre Dame. He would be a backup for the Fighting Irish for a couple of years, and going into the 2025 season, he was supposed to get a chance to start. Except, in their 3-man quarterback battle between Minchie, him, and CJ Carr, Angeli would end up losing the job. Despite having just under 1,000 yards and 10 touchdowns in 2 years there, he'd decide to enter the spring window and go over to Syracuse. He beat out Ricky Collins for the starting job, and through his first few games, Angeli was incredible. He had passed for 1,317 yards and in literally just 4 games. He also had 11 total touchdowns, and Angeli looked legit. Unfortunately, he got hurt and is out for the season, and with how bad Syracuse has been without him, it shows he's a super important player. And while I don't mean any disrespect to Syracuse, he should go transfer to a bigger school for his final year, and I think he has legit NFL potential, honestly. For our second wide receiver of the night, we need to talk about Danny Scadero. He has become one of the best players in college football, if you actually dive into the stats, but coming out of Archbishop Mitty High School in San Jose, nobody knew anything about Scadero. Those who did play or watch him knew. He had over 1,900 yards and 19 touchdowns during his senior season, but he was considered a 0-star recruit. He would arrive at Sacramento State, and Scadero would ball out while he was there. He ended up catching 52 passes for 664 yards and 5 touchdowns, and was named a freshman All-American because of it. He would decide to transfer to San Jose State ahead of the 2025 season, and following in the footsteps of Nick Nash, he's become a star. He has 84 catches for 1,234 yards and 10 total touchdowns. His quarterback Walker Eggett is a great player, and while San Jose State hasn't exactly lived up to the hype either, Scadero has been as good as advertised. Unfortunately, he is only 5'9", so his long-term ceiling is limited, but he can definitely make an impact at the college level, and I think should transfer to a big-time program where he can be a major factor for a team that desperately needs a player like him. For our next guy, we're going to talk about a running back by the name of Caleb Hawkins. He ended up going to North Rock Creek High School in Oklahoma and was a very underrated player in the class of 2025. In fact, he was not even top 150 at his position and was not inside the top 2,000. Caleb Hawkins was definitely underrated coming out of high school, but he had 1,600 yards and 28 touchdowns. Nobody took notice except for North Texas and head coach Eric Morris, and in his true freshman season with the Mean Green, he's helped them get off to a 10-1 start, and he has ran the ball 168 times for 1,030 yards and 19 touchdowns. In my opinion, he's following in the footsteps of players like Ahmad Hardy and Fluff Bothwell, who are playing at these lower level schools and are going to take an immediate jump up. With Eric Morris going to Oklahoma State and him being from Oklahoma, I would presume he's probably going to go play for the Cowboys, but who knows? He has been a star as a true freshman, and big schools are going to want to get Hawkins on their campus and get him signed here soon. For our second quarterback on the list, we're going to talk about Byron Brown from USF. He's one of the best kept secrets in all of college football, as coming out of Rollsville High School in North Carolina, he passed for over 8,000 yards and 87 touchdowns, but Byron Brown was not exactly a blue chip. He was considered the number 73 quarterback in the country and the 1,178th overall recruit. USF had decided to take a chance on him, and under Alex Golesh, he really took off. After becoming the starter in 2023, Byron had passed for 3,300 yards and 26 touchdowns, and also ran for 800 yards and 11 touchdowns. He stayed loyal to USF, but after getting hurt last year, some were wondering if he was ever going to be the same. He is definitely the same, as so far in 2025, Byron has thrown for 2,900 yards and 24 touchdowns, while also rushing for 904 yards and 13 touchdowns. USF is still in the playoff hunt, but with Alex Golesh looking to take a new job, Byron Brown has a decision to make. A big-time Power 4 school will definitely want him, but would he go for that? Would he go play for Alex Golesh if he takes another job, or does he just stay put? That's a question he's going to have to answer, but he's definitely a star quarterback, and I think Byron Brown should go test the waters. I know fans of small schools aren't a huge fan of the transfer portal, and Wyatt Young is a great example of that. He's another player that North Texas developed as an underrated player coming out of high school, and coming out of Tompkins High School in Katy, Texas, Wyatt Young was considered the number 170 athlete and the 1,836 overall player in the nation. He was a part of the class of 2024, and while he was in high school, he was more of a running back, as he had rushed for nearly 1,000 yards and 11 touchdowns, and also had 56 total touchdowns as a runner in his career. He had arrived at North Texas, and in 2024, he had a minimal role, catching 18 passes for 295 yards and 2 touchdowns, but so far this year, Wyatt Young has been incredible. He's caught 56 passes for 1,076 yards and 10 total touchdowns. He's become the go-to receiver for Drew Mestamaker, and the exact type of player Eric Morris has come to be known for. As I've already said, he's taken the Oklahoma State job, so honestly, I think Wyatt Young probably follows him there too, but he'll get offers out of the portal, and he's a player similar to Danny Scadero. For our final running back of the day, we need to talk about Mike Washington Jr., the starting running back for the Arkansas Razorbacks. Coming out of Cicero North High School in New York, nobody really knew much about Mike Washington. In fact, he was considered the number 169 running back in the country and the 2,494th best player overall. He had over 1,000 yards as a senior, and he's had a whirlwind career. He started out at Buffalo, where he played pretty sparingly, and then was at New Mexico State in 2024, before exploding at Arkansas this year. He's ran the ball 157 times for 1,018 yards and 8 total touchdowns. Depending on eligibility rules and how things play out, I don't know if Mike Washington Jr. has another year, but I know some are saying he might. So for now, we will give him the benefit of the doubt and say he has one more year, and if that's the case, he should transfer to another big-time program. He's also at this point probably an NFL draft prospect, so he definitely has a decision to make, but I thought it was worth spotlighting him because a lot of people don't even know who he is. For our final quarterback of the day, we're going to talk about Julian Lewis. He's been one of the biggest names in college football recruiting over the last couple of years, as coming out of Carrollton High School in Georgia, he was a phenom as a true freshman. He ended up winning 39 games as a 3-year starter and passed for over 11,000 yards. He also had 144 passing touchdowns and was top 10 in a lot of Georgia high school football metrics. After committing to USC, he would reclassify and end up at Colorado, and so far as a true freshman this season, he's gotten in a couple of games. He's passed for a total of 589 yards with 4 touchdowns and has yet to throw an interception. The potential is definitely there, but he's young, needs some refinement, and honestly I think needs a new school. I love Coach Prime, but I think that Julian Lewis could be better developed somewhere else, especially at a premier program, and with how good he is and how young he still is, there's going to be plenty of schools trying to get him in the portal. I know he's currently sitting out for the final game to retain his eligibility, but I think he's gone. And finally, for our last player, we're going to talk about wide receiver Jackson Harris. Coming out of Berkeley High School in California, Jackson Harris was actually a decently big recruit, as he was considered the number 48 athlete and a top 700 player in the class of 2023. Jackson Harris was really solid while he was in high school, as he had 73 catches for 1,500 yards and 26 touchdowns during his senior season. Harris would end up arriving at Stanford and had a good amount of hype. Unfortunately, in 2 years, he did nothing, as he caught 6 passes for 1 touchdown, but this year, he's become a star for Hawaii. With quarterback Micah Alejado, he has caught 45 passes for 810 yards and 11 total touchdowns. Harris has been really good there, and I know people say whatever player goes to Hawaii is usually super loyal. I think Jackson Harris has some NFL potential and will get lucrative offers from Power 4 programs. It'd be hard for him to turn those down, but we'll just have to wait and see what happens. Either way, today we talked about 10 players who I think should enter the 2026 transfer portal, and let me know your thoughts. What do you think of these players? Who should be on part 2? And what other topics should I cover next? Be sure to let me know down below. Leave a like if you want to support today's video, subscribe if you're new, and check out one of the videos on the end screen. Hope to see you guys again soon. Until next time, peace.